All right, welcome everybody. It's 1 p.m. It's Thursday, March the 11th, 2021. You have arrived at Wisdom Keys with myself, Brother Francis. Today's topic is let's choose to live in peace, harmony, and happiness now. And that's not an easy task, but it is doable as long as we are often and always working on ourselves, as this is a golden opportunity to share such wisdom and grace with all of you and understanding. May the things that you hear in the program today help you. Tomorrow at 12 noon is Swanda with Michelle Vidal, owner of Resonant Essentials. On Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time is the wonderful Audrey Wilson from the UK, who always has a lot of great information for all of us. On Tuesday is Donna of Dominion Tarot, who has so much wonderful information for us. And this is an opportunity for those of us who have the time right now to share this information with you live on a weekly basis. So I'm glad that you're here when you are here. So we're going to get started with this topic. Let's choose to live in peace, harmony, and happiness. So as life is what it is. There are a lot of things going on in the world around us all the time. As my parents used to say, life never stops for anyone. It just keeps rolling. And we find ourselves often in the midst of life being very active, doing things that we may not feel so comfortable about doing, but nonetheless, it is being involved in living. My late ancestors always used to say, like my mom and her family members, one of the things they always used to say is, baby, just keep on living. All right, Patricia. They said, you just keep on living. I would be complaining from grade school, especially high school, but especially college, all the things I went through in college with all my friends. And my mom would always come out and say, just keep on living. So that's why I chose this topic. Let's choose to live in peace, harmony, and happiness. When we choose to live in peace, harmony, and happiness, we are first and foremost find ourselves the value of doing it for ourselves. We often go through many life's experiences, the ups and the downs, and we all do. We don't control every nook and cranny of our lives, but we do control how we breathe. We do control what we choose to respond to. And often, before we learn how to respond properly for ourselves, we wind up reacting to things. So we don't want to be reactive to anything that we see going on around ourselves. We want to be of a sound mind and body, and we want to be calm enough so that we can respond appropriately for ourselves. We want to be able to respond with a feeling of value, self worth, higher self esteem, self love, compassion for ourselves and for those around us in our lives. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing, it's step by step for ourselves. So let's look at the first word. Let's choose to live in peace. We know peace is essential. There's so many things happening from a day to day basis, right? That often we don't have time to kind of slow everything down. But the way that we can control something with ourselves is to do it right when we are going to sleep, right when we are getting up, and monitoring ourselves moment to moment. So we have to feel rested in ourselves to be able to have peace, to feel that sense of peace for ourselves. Maybe a simple question is, well, what kind of peace are we seeking? Is it the kind of peace where it is the peace of the heart, where we don't feel troubled here? Or is it the peace of mind so that we don't have any more anxiety and doubt going on? How about peace within our body? Are we striving to be calm, calm enough on the inside so we can feel the inner strength, the reservoir of inner strength that's infinite on the inside? Can we go to a place on the inside where our divine sources, divine resources exist? So we might want to question ourselves, and not roughly, not rudely, just a question in a sense of reminding ourselves that we have this resilient nature. We don't have to break apart. We might break down a little bit. We all have. We all have gotten emotional about things, upset about something, and we got so much focus on what was upsetting us that it pulled us away from center. So when we think about choosing to live in peace, we're choosing to live in peace with ourselves. So that means we're going to do certain things, whether it's taking care of our health, exercising, eating right, um, not letting yourself be overwhelmed by the news, not let yourself be overwhelmed by anything that you could be going through personally in your own life. That's why we've learned these catchphrases, and this too shall pass, and this is an illusion, and this is not of this world. We're not of this world. We're just in it. We're not. We're in a human form because we choose to come in to experience life in this human way, but we're greater than that. So we have to decide what peace is for us. And once we know what that peace is for us, then we could choose correctly so that the peace is a peace of wellness, a peace of healing, a peace that opens the door to creative wholeness, where we're not all over the place. Then, harmony. How do we choose to live in harmony? Well, when we're choosing peace and we understand the peace that we're seeking that's in us that eventually is overflowing into the environment around us, then we learn how to relate. When we learn how to relate to others, then we're more in the state of harmony because that's what we're seeking, harmonic style of peace, where everything, just like in an orchestra, the bass gives the foundation, the bass instruments, the drum instruments, the percussion instruments, which are based off the heartbeat, build and build and build and build and strengthen the body. Sometimes can shake it. And then you got the violins there, and you got the trumpets, and you got the horns, and all the wind instruments. The wind is wind, air, and the brass instruments are the fire energies, crackling fire energies. So we got all these different ways in which to bring harmony, but we have to learn how to relate to things going on around ourselves. So the first thing that all of us would do is learn how to relate with ourselves. How are we relating with or to ourselves in the world that we have created for ourselves? What are we doing in this world that can further empower us, that can bring us to greater heights? And when we reach those low depths, that we don't feel like we're swallowed up by it. So that's why I use the words let us. Let means allow. Allow yourself to choose. In other words, give yourself permission to choose something or things or experiences or events that are valuable to you, that give you self-worth. So we're seeking peace within, and then we relate that peace on the inside first to be in harmony. That means for the organs, the cells of all the various organs to work harmonically together to create a balance. The cells, minute cells within the bloodstream, could feed the body. The tendons that must be flexible so we could bend in the certain parts of the body. The muscles to have strength to hold the body together, to hold the body up, to allow the body to be in a greater stance, a greater foundation. So we are choosing, we are allowing ourselves to make a choice, to make a decision about something that lends value to us, a greater value. So there's a sense of what? Freedom. Because when you're seeking peace, you got to be able to be free in order to experience that peace, at least free within yourself. You could have a lot of restrictions going on outside yourself, but in your mind, you're going to create the freedom in your mind, the space for it. So here we are, we're choosing to be in peace. We're choosing to relate in such a way so there's harmony and balance all the way around. When we could get peace and harmony functioning using the principles, what those principles are for us, a principle is a fundamental truth of all truths. A maxim, M-A-X-I-M or U-M, maxim, is the absolute truth, can't be disputed. So we're seeking peace and how to be harmonically in tune with others or our environment so peace is overflowing, not just stuck here, but overflowing in our environment. Because what are we seeking? We are seeking wholesomeness, right? We're seeking a healthy world. So one of the things that we have to find out while we are approaching to get at the top into the pinnacle for happiness is you don't have to be as perfect as you think. You don't have to put, I've mentioned this before, you don't have to put pressure on yourself to be super, superbly, supremely, perfectly at peace and perfectly in harmony. What you need is an understanding of it, how those work in your life, how you relate to peace, how do you relate to harmony? And then how can you be relating or a relative to happiness? We might think that happiness is where we don't have a care in the world about anything. We don't have to worry about anything. Um, Maybe our bills are taken care of. Maybe we wipe them out, wiped out our debts. We're in a place where we are not forced, or we don't feel lost, or we don't feel confused. We know where we're at, and we know that we can be all right, all things right for us. So it's interesting. Let's choose. So in other words, we're giving ourselves permission, giving yourself permission to be happier, giving yourself permission to relate to others where harmony can set in, giving yourself permission to be in a state of peace, peaceful awareness, and peaceful remembrance. We want to have that kind of energy embedded in us so that it is nothing more or nothing less but absolute joy and happiness, absolute peace and harmony, absolute happiness. Again, we wouldn't allow ourselves to be worrying about anything. Why? Because we're seeking to be alert here. I'm alert, and in other words, when you're very alert, that means you are feeling what? Safe. To some extent, you're feeling safe in your environment. You're feeling aware of what and who is in your environment. And you don't have to feel so comfortable with it. You're just aware of every element that is there, even what's behind you. You might see some things that are normal, and you may see some things that are not normal. You may see some things that are not really a part of you, yet it doesn't frighten you. It doesn't, it's not disturbing to you. Why? Because you can readily see the energy within it. Many of us have gone for walks or in search of places that could lend nourishment to us spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, where people are. And while we're in that moment, we are allowing ourselves to have a better sense of where we're at, where we're headed, where we're going. So we don't have to rush. All we have to do is allow ourselves to feel and be prepared. But prepared for what? Prepared for your day. I remember I was studying the works of the late Reverend Ike, better known as Dr. Frederick Eichenkrota. Long name. That's why he shortened it to Ike. And one of the things he was saying in his book was, if we're forever, this is just paraphrasing, if we are forever seeking a better way of living, it would be to our advantage. It would be to our advantage to seek peace. But before we can seek peace, he said, you just got to make up your mind. You got to decide what it is that you truly want. So when we're seeking something, when we're seeking peace, we have to make sure that peace is going to be valuable. That peace is going to be a gem, a sparkling gem to us, so that we have automatically felt well just from the thought of peace. You can slide out of your mind into feeling what that is like for you. What is the feeling of peace? What has peace ever felt like to you? Go in your mind for a moment. Go in your mind and think, well, let your memory bring you something where the peace was a joyful peace as opposed to the opposite. Because you can find peace in skirmishes where you can hear stuff going off, but in the space that you're in, You're making sure that you're at some state of peace. But what happens is you step into the realm of what? Calmness. Hey, Jeannie. So when you step into the realm of calmness, to be calm, then you're better able to feel free and know that you're calm. And you don't have a care. You're not worried about anything. You know that in this moment, all is well. So everything, like he said, boils down to a choice. Can you choose happiness? Can you choose harmony? Can you choose peace? These are states of mind. These are sensitive issues and things that you're striving to do. You are looking to have a better handle on things. Now, what could help you get to the level of having peace, harmony, and happiness in your life? Self control. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you don't want to be reactive to something. You can see something going on outside yourself that is not comfortable for you or anybody else, but you just don't want to react. Sometimes when you react to something, is because you're reacting because you don't know. You're just caught up in the moment. Worry and anxiety sets in because you're caught up in the moment. You feel like you're supposed to react to this, whatever this event is. When in essence, your soul says, take a step back. You might say physically, there's no room for me to take a step back. Why am I hearing take a step back? Well, then the soul projects down into you. Well, man, stand still and don't you move. But are we in a position to listen to that spirit, higher self, quiet voice, silent voice coming in that's speaking through us? I remember one time it was December 31st, 1991. I had to move out of a place where it was not comfortable, but I already had a place to move to, but I couldn't move there yet because I had to wait. But I knew not to be in that particular house where all those other people were. I had to get up from there. So I moved. I mean, I just did move physically. I locked everything in the room. I got up and I said a prayer of grace that if anything was to happen to the things that I had there, they were just material things, that I could always get them back. So I said, by the grace of God, there I go. I will have them back. Divine intervention for me is divine grace during that time. And it was funny. The time was 3:44 p.m., December 31st, 1999. And the minute I left the premises, I felt an overwhelming peace. I felt that my ancestors and angels and other guides and so forth had heard the word. And when I left, the spirit came over me and says, as you lock this front door behind you, do when you turn away, do not look back. Don't look across the street. Don't look side eye to the house. Don't look down the side street. Just keep walking. And I walked to the end of the block. The street was Elizabeth Avenue. I walked to the end of the block and hung a right turn on a one-way street called Baldwin Road that would soon open up into a bigger road. Made a left. Passed by my elder friend's house that knew my mom and dad. Made a left. Spirit says, don't you look to the left, look down the block. Keep straight ahead. And later that night, I went out. I stayed with some friends someplace. And I went out that night because my friend wanted to go get a juice and milk for his friend there. And I said, no, you stay, I'll go. And when I went out, I remember when I came into the building, there was 4 guys, and we all greeted each other Happy New Year. So they were leaving the building, and I was going in. Another 11. The building was marked 380, 380 Front Street. The house that I left was 38 Elizabeth Avenue. All these 11s lining up. When I got to those apartments, it was around 407. Lots of 11s. I wasn't really adding it up, but I was watching. I was observing. Why? I didn't react. I was listening, being led, because I could feel. To make a long story short, when I went out to get the groceries across the street, the sky on one side was dark to the east, and to the west it was lit up with a pink light. And this is around 11:30 at night. Double digits, 11:33. And guess what? This overwhelming, quiet, silent voice goes, stand in the yellow double hash and don't move. Stand. And I stood there. I looked to the west. It was nothing but a sheet of ice. And I hear this car coming around the corner, spinning out of control. And everybody says, oh, shoot, the guy in the yellow area of the block, he's going to get slammed by this car. The guys across the street were like this. The voice over me said, stand still. Don't react. Your response is stillness. Choose peace. That's what I chose. I was in harmony with the environment for a split second or two. Took a deep breath. That car stopped within a foot of me. All the passengers in that little Pinto looked up because they just knew they hit me. And I just walked across the street, got the things, came back, told my friend and my friends. They were like marveled. I had a sense of peace in that moment because I was choosing to be in a state of peace, and I was choosing to relate in a harmonious way so I wouldn't be overreacting or reactive, period. Just listening and being led. It was a choice. So I put that out there to you is because you are going to want to be served a form of peace, harmony, and then watch happiness roll in. Happiness rolls into your life because you are now paying attention to everything that's going on around you. When you start to pay attention to everything, then you learn something where the cells in the atmosphere, the nanocells, the divine light, the fiats, the odds, they're filled with divine intelligence and they are listening to you. They're inside of you listening. They're outside of you listening. You're inside of them listening. And you realize you all are dancing and breathing together in a state of peace, inner peace. You're choosing to maintain the sensation, the feeling of peace. But where do you hold this peace? Not here. Not here. right here. Hold the peace in the cavity of the chest. You can bring that peace down into the body. You inhale, you hold it in your chest, and then you relax. You bring it down into your body, all the way down, past your navel, into your body. You begin to choose to relax, choose to be whole, choose. Everything's a choice. Everything. When we realize everything is a choice, then what's the next level? You could say, after it's all said and done, or even in the midst, you could say, I'm in a state of gratitude with all of this. This was supposed to happen this way to me today. I was taken out of my element because I was too complacent. I was taken out of an area that was too dangerous. I was taken out of an area where people were proposing danger. I was taken out of an area where there was going to be a whole bunch of confusion and I would be trapped there. But then I learned to pay attention. So now I chose to be in a state of peace. I chose to relate in a different way so I could be in harmony, which means I could adapt and adjust. In a relationship, you have to adapt and adjust. You have to compromise, no compromise, or just be quiet and listen to what the partner has to say. In any event, healing shall take place for both of you. It becomes an amazing journey when you allow the spirit of grace that I spoke about weeks ago enter your life. It's divine intervention. It is the spiritual force that is always present in each one of us in the ethers around us, just waiting for you to call. Because when you call upon it, you can't have anything else. You will have nothing less of peace, harmony, and happiness. And it's continuous. Why? Because you are permitting yourself, allowing yourself, giving yourself this opportunity to experience it. Even in the beginning, you may not know where everything is going. I think it was the late Dr. Martin Luther King said, you don't have to know everything about your journey. There's a staircase, but you don't have to know where it's going. Just know that you will be carried, you will be okay at every step, at every level. And you might turn around and say, I'm getting dizzy, it's too high up. But you got there, something took you there, and something's going to pull you through. We are pulling ourselves through. We are kites in reverse. The soul is pulling us. The soul is ahead of us and it's pulling us through. All we got to do is don't lean back on the on the cord. Like stand and allow ourselves to be pulled. Sooner or later, relax into it, and now the peace is there. Now the joy, the gratitude, the compassion that you have for peace is there. Now you're relating better, which creates harmony. And then happiness, which is bliss, blessings, bliss, blissful state of mind. You ain't got to worry about nothing because you have arrived. So let me give you all a little 2-minute meditation. Begin to inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Go to a place within you where you know peace is present. Go to a place that you're capable of relating to, where harmony exists for you. Go to a place where you feel wholeness existing for you because you have become whole. Go to a place where happiness unfolds. Go to a place where you know that you're peace, harmony, and happiness. That you are always well and complete, overflowing joy and happiness, but not just giddy joy, not just giddiness. A sense of joy where you can feel a tear come down your face because you have arrived. You have survived, and now you're thriving with peace, harmony, and happiness. Thank you for joining me, Wisdom Keys, with myself, Brother Francis. Know that I'm here next Thursday and every Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for approximately a 30-minute live video streaming format for Resident Essentials, the group. Tomorrow, Friday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, which will put it about 2 p.m. Eastern, will be Swanda, which is our good friend and owner, Michelle Vidal, with a very special topic that she has. Come back on Mondays at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, and 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for our friend from the UK, Audrey Wilson, who has some whispering spiritual messages to help mentor your spirit, your soul into where you need to go. Join us on Tuesdays at about 11 to 12 or about 12 p.m. Mountain Time for Dominion Tarot. Donna of Dominion Tarot with some energy, card working, and asking and answering your questions. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. My grace is your grace. Wisdom Keys with myself, Brother Francis. See you next Thursday, 1 p.m. Mountain, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, for another live episode. Thank you. Be well.